Only eating my boyfriend's favorite foods for a full day. First up, Chris had to get birria tacos because he's obsessed, and I get it. Like, they're so cheesy, and the birria is so juicy, and the consomme adds so much flavors, and the tortillas are a little crispy, and it's just like such a satisfying bite. And you add some salsa verde, and it's spicy too. Like, it's perfect. And he eats like 3 times a week from the Indian place across the street. He gets chicken vindaloo extra spicy, and boy, do they make it spicy. It just like builds over time till you're fully sweating. And he can't help himself. He always has to get onion pakora because it's freaking delicious. Crispy, crunchy, deep fried onions. It's so much flavor. And then you gotta get the garlic naan and let it soak in the vindaloo, and it makes your lips burn in like the best way. Like, why is spicy food so addicting? And his perfect day is not complete without Chinese food. Our local takeout spot is so fire, y'all. Look at this Szechuan spicy chicken, and the fried rice has those yummy little pieces of pork, and they always give us so many veggies. It's got these chunky, juicy mushrooms and crunchy water chestnuts, and the chicken is really tender, and the sauce is, again, so spicy. And of course, it comes with a beautiful golden brown egg roll. You gotta add some chili oil, and it's full of crunchy cabbage. And I have this weird obsession with the fried wontons that come with wonton soup. Like, I'll just eat the whole bag by itself, but they're also so good in the salty broth. And that's all for today. Only eating Ethiopian food for a full day? First up, I went to this Ethiopian restaurant and I got this dish that smelled insane, you guys. It's this spongy pancake-like flatbread that's called injera. So you tear off a little piece, you scoop up the meat, and then you sprinkle it with this house-made cottage cheese, and it's this burst of flavors. The injera actually kind of tastes like a soft sourdough crepe because it's fermented. It also came with gomen, which is like collard greens, and this beef stew has this blend of spices that is mouth-watering. It's like chili and garlic and ginger, and it's so buttery too. And the chicken stew is called dorawat, and it's super spicy but so flavorful, and the chicken just falls off the bone. I also got this mini Ethiopian coffee ceremony where they burn incense, and they serve this traditional coffee made from beans roasted on a pan over an open flame, and it's so flavorful. It's almost like citrusy, like kind of fruity. I also got some samosas to go, and they came with this house-made tomato hot sauce, and the chicken one was, again, so well seasoned, so flavorful and like fragrant. But the beef one, oh my god, it was so good, so spicy. It had jalapenos and onions and this minced beef that was super juicy, and it was so crispy too. And here's where we get to some uncharted territory. So I tried kitfo, which is like a finely chopped lean beef that's pretty much raw, but it's seasoned with this amazing herb butter, and you dip it in this mix of homemade spices that will clear your sinuses. Oh my god, it's so spicy. But the meat literally melts in your mouth. And finally, I heard that you can heat leftover injera with butter and honey, and it makes it like crispy and sweet, and it kind of reminded me of a crunchy honeycomb that's slightly fermented. A really interesting flavor combo, but that's all for today. Only eating at Costco for a full day? I've never actually tried their churros, and look at how massive. I also got a chocolate sundae to dip it in, and it was pretty fire. Crispy and sugary and creamy and so chocolatey. Actually, like, the chocolate sauce added a lot, and I love the ice cream here. And then I had to try the infamous chicken bake hot dog hack, but I'm kind of confused because the hot dog kept pushing the chicken filling out, so you have to like eat as you push, and eventually I just kind of gave up and ate it like half hot dog, half chicken bake. But honestly, it was kind of fire. It was so meaty and cheesy, and the bake is a little crispy with that yummy bacon flavor. And Costco has the perfect cheap cafeteria slice of pizza. The dough is like so fluffy, and there's a good amount of cheese, and the pepperonis are just greasy enough, and the crust gets those like crispy charred bubbles too. It would be so good with ranch. And don't think we didn't go get all the free samples. This death by chocolate cake in a jar thing was like really rich, super moist and cocoa-y, and oh yeah, my mom has a chocolate addiction too. And then I beelined for the bakery for some comically large muffins that are always somehow BOGO, and you gotta heat them up so they get all steamy and soft. The coffee cake one was always my favorite because the top is so crispy and it has that sugary glaze, and it just reminds me of my childhood. It's like so comforting. And the chocolate ones are so good warm because the chocolate chips get all melty. You gotta find that perfect first bite with gooey chocolate chips and the slightly crunchy muffin top, and the muffin itself is so fluffy. It's really good with butter too. And finally, I got a rotisserie chicken because they're only $5 and it's so much food. And maybe this was just a thing in my family, but like right when you get home, you can start picking at it while it's hot, and it's delicious. And that's all for today. Only eating soul food for a full day in New York. I woke up starving, so I ordered so much food, and this first place gets all their ingredients from local farms. You can totally tell because like the yams were so soft and sugary, and the mac and cheese was really well seasoned, like super peppery. And they also had cornbread stuffing that tasted just like Thanksgiving. It was so herby, and combine all three, and it's like a cheesy, buttery, crispy heaven. And this place is called Cornbread for a reason. It was so moist with pieces of sweet, crunchy corn, and so like sugary and warm. I also got the fried chicken, which was a little dry, fries, so I added some hot sauce and some honey, and that totally helped. Really spicy and sweet and crunchy. And then I biked to the next spot. It was so hot out today, you guys, but I had the best fish I've ever had in my life. Literally, I can't make this up. This catfish was so moist and like buttery. It literally melted in my mouth with the thick, creamy tartar sauce. It is perfection. And the shrimp was good too, really crispy and pretty fresh. And the fries were a little floppy, but they're good if you like floppy fries. And then someone commented that I have to try hot sauce on my greens. And y'all, that's a game changer. It's so tangy and spicy and like slightly bitter in the best way. And finally, I got banana pudding, which was thick and so fluffy. And it always reminds me of my childhood, like really comforting. And that's all for today. Everything I ate at Disney. You guys, we were invited to this private media event and they gave us a pickle milkshake to try, and it was surprisingly so creamy and thick and rich. It wasn't very pickly, but you could kind of taste the dill flavor, like maybe a little sour, but it just kind of tasted like a creamy green milkshake. And these were called unnecessarily spicy wings. They have this thick, heavy curry sauce, like so saucy. And yeah, they were pleasantly spicy, like they make your lips burn a little bit. But they also have peanut butter and jelly wings that were incredible. They were so salty and sweet and nutty and just like way better than I was expecting, like so much flavor. And then they moved us to this private space where we previewed some different dishes, like this cherry dipped Mickey ice cream with fruity pebbles. It was so cute, and the chocolate is so crunchy, but the cherry flavor was actually amazing. It was like so tart and fruity and kind of tangy and sugary. And this Italian hot beef sandwich came with jus to dip in, which was a little salty for me personally, but the shaved beef was really tender. And I'm always surprised at how good the Beyond Meat products are here. Like the burger was so juicy and really well seasoned and flavorful. And I met Remy and he gave me a waffle. I wish it was a little crispier, but it was really soft and sweet. And finally, I tried the macaroni salad that was delicious. I love macaroni salad. It's like so creamy and crunchy. And then they were giving out merch, so Chris got some ears. So cute. And that's all for today. Only eating at viral food spots for a full day in New York. First up, I had to try these famous, super fluffy, massive pancakes that are basically just full-size cakes. But the best part is the hazel maple praline brown butter syrup. It's so buttery and nutty and thick and just like so sugary. And then I keep seeing this video game cafe. So each table has a TV and controllers and like hundreds and hundreds of games. And they also have cereal milkshakes. So I got the Cinnamon Toast Crunch one, of course. And y'all, it was thick. It had like some crunchy cereal and then some soggy cereal that like soaked up all of the shake. So it was a really great texture combo. I also got the loaded fries and they did not skimp, like so much bacon and jalapenos and melty cheese. And they were so hot and fresh, actually like really spicy. And the bacon was crispy. Honestly, no notes. And this Sichuan style country fried chicken spot is apparently the best fried chicken in New York. And it used to have like a 10,000 person wait list, but just look at these massive pieces of crispy, crunchy chicken that's literally drowning in this like insanely flavorful dry rub. It's like dipping the juiciest, crispiest fried chicken you've ever had in a pot of chili oil. Like it's incredible. Not to mention the cheddar cornbread with apple honey that is so moist with this like crispy cheese crust and sweet sugary honey, and combine it with the chicken and you're in heaven. And that's all for today. Everything I ate for $45 at Disney's Food and Wine Festival. First, I went to Japan for this teriyaki chicken bun that was a casual $7.50. But it did have a lot of filling and it was super saucy, and the steamed bread was pretty fluffy. And I was so excited for India because they have curry spiced crispy cheese with mango curry ketchup, which was so good, like chunks of sweet fruity mangoes, and the cheese was squeaky, you know, like kind of chewy, squeaky and crispy. And then it was off to Mexico for a tostada, and this one actually surprised me. The braised pork was so tender and juicy, and the fried tortilla was like perfectly crunchy and delicate. And it had avocado mousse and queso fresco. And then I went to the Swiss Alps and I got dark chocolate fondue. I think they forgot the meringues, but the chocolate was really smooth and not too sweet. And it came with these like mini pound cakes that were soft and fluffy, but way too small in my opinion. Still though, the chocolate was like really silky. But this was my favorite thing all day. It's smoked corned beef and cheese curds on top of house-made potato chips, and it's smothered in beer cheese fondue that's so melty and rich, and the smoky beef was super tender, and the chips were so salty. And I always stop at Germany because they have my favorite bev, but they also had bratwurst on a pretzel roll with mustard, and y'all, the mustard was so tangy and sharp, and the bratwurst was pretty good, pretty juicy. And unfortunately, I didn't love this last dish. It was coffee barbecue beef, and the meat was just kind of chewy and like not super flavorful, but it had this sweet potato corn mealy pop that was delicious. And that's all for today. only eating Trader Joe's Indian food for a full day. I was fully shocked at the options. They had garlic naan that looked so good. First up, I tried their fiery chicken curry with turmeric rice. The sauce was not super fiery, but the chicken was actually so juicy. It really simmered in those sauces. It was so acidic though, like almost stings your throat a little bit. But y'all, this naan, apparently it's hand stretched and baked in a traditional tandoori oven, and you can tell it's better than the naan I get from my local Indian restaurant. It's perfectly fluffy, but somehow still kind of dense, and it gets crispy in the oven, and it's so garlicky. And look at these cute little mini vegetable samosas. They're perfectly golden brown, a great crunch, and a nice amount of filling. Like they've got peas and carrots and potatoes and lentils and onions, and they're decently flavorful. I also tried the paneer tikka masala with spinach basmati rice, and paneer is actually a type of cheese. It kind of tastes like ricotta, and it adds a lot of richness, and the rice was my favorite all day because the spinach made it so moist and almost fluffier. I also got some papadums, and they didn't sell chutney or anything, so I just dipped them in the tikka masala, which was thick and a little sweet. And I'm a sucker for vindaloo. Some of the lamb pieces were a little bit chewy and fatty, but the chunky, tangy, spicy sauce has that iconic vindaloo flavor, and it's definitely the spiciest thing I tried all day. And that's all for today. Trying every single appetizer from Target. I literally bought all of them. I'm gonna tell you what's worth it and what's not. First up, I made these mini pigs in a blanket and beef and jalapeno empanadas, which were so buttery. They were filled with beef and cheese, corn, peppers, onions, black beans. Like they actually had a lot of flavor. And yeah, these are called Parmesan puff pastry wrapped hot dogs, but they are total winners for me. So juicy and meaty, like the perfect party appetizer. You can add a little ketchup for some tang. And then I got the lobster mac and cheese bites that were filled with mozzarella and cheddar. They could have had more lobster and honestly more cheese, but the breading was super crispy. They definitely needed a dipping sauce though, because they were a little dry. And these spicy Korean pork pot stickers were probably my second favorite thing all day. They were pretty big and they got crispy on the bottom, but then the wrapping on the side still stayed chewy and soft, and the pork filling was juicy. And don't forget to add chili oil. They also had these jalapeno tortilla cheese sticks, and the breading was so crunchy with like crispy tortilla crumbles, but again, they just needed more cheese, and they could have been way spicier in my opinion. Next up, we got these chicken and cheese quesadilla cones and spanakopita, which actually had like really buttery, delicate, crispy phyllo dough, and the filling wasn't bad, but the quesadilla cones surprised me. Like the chicken filling was actually cheesy, almost like a cream cheese flavor. I wish they were a little bigger though. And these veggie spring rolls were another favorite because they actually came with dipping sauce. It was super sweet, but the spring rolls were super crunchy, and they actually had a lot of flavor. They were filled with edamame and tofu and kale and mushrooms. And finally, crab cakes and masa bites. The crab cakes were my least favorite thing all day. They were just a little too fishy, not very crispy, and not super flavorful. But the elote-inspired masa bites might have been my favorite thing all day. Like the sweet masa was so thick and buttery and comforting, and the creamy corn filling was so cheesy, and they were a little crispy, but like so rich. And that's all for today. Letting my boyfriend's parents decide everything I eat for a full day. This weekend we went to see Chris's fam. His dad is obsessed with this Mission barbecue place, and he gets so excited every time we go. They have all these cute little bottled drinks you can choose from, and so many sauces. But the Kansas City one is the best. It's so sweet and tangy, but like not too sugary, and the chopped brisket is so tender. It literally falls apart with that like perfect like crispy charred flavor. And the mac and cheese, oh my god, it's so cheesy, and it has these crunchy breadcrumbs, and it's so creamy. And I added some spicy honey barbecue sauce for a little kick. Also, honey on mac and cheese is a game changer. It's like decadent. And look at this cute little retro root beer. Also, root beer is underrated. It's delicious, and his family loves Carrabba's. Oh, this is his new little baby niece Avery. She's the cutest baby in the world. She's literally, oh my god, I can't even watch the video. She's too cute. And I actually used to work at Carrabba's. I would just like shove this herb oil bread in my face all day. It's literally addictive. It's so salty. Oh, it's so good. And then for dinner, Chris's mom made fajitas, and I'm obsessed with her. Okay, she makes the best bevs. She's my little drinking buddy, and her fajitas are fire. And if you've been around for a little bit, you already know Olivia. She's getting so big, but she loves to eat with me when I'm filming because she watches my TikToks with her mom sometimes, and it makes me so happy. And the fajitas were absolutely scrumptious, and that's all for today.